So the interesting thing about Roblox is that all of the tools to create the games are within our platform. That the strategy that they're doing today is not the strategy they started out with. Say now, because I think we continue to shift as a platform and grow. I'd say maybe there's 3 or 4 paths. Number one, start developing your community.
What's missing? What are still the challenges that need to be solved?
Number one, we talk about it all the time, is just education. What IP from entertainment and sports needs to think about is, number one, get the eyeballs there. That 87% of Gen Z games every month. How do we assert gaming as a channel for marketers? Because we're such a large platform now with over 6 million experiences and such a variety of a global audience, the first thing I would say is,
hello everyone and welcome to The Speakeasy. This is a series where we interview innovators from across sports, entertainment and gaming. I'm Joe Condon. This is my co-host Jay Stewart, and today I'm joined by Lisa Willett, Director of Global Partnerships at Roblox. Welcome to the show, Lisa.
Oh, thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Lisa, for the uninitiated, tell us about Roblox, what Roblox is, and tell us about the story of how this became such a sensational success.
So most people don't know this, but Roblox is an 18-year-old company. Our CEO is the founder, David Baszucki, real visionary in the space. And he has grown this platform to be a user-generated gaming and community-driven platform. So I like to say it's sometimes the YouTube of gaming, which I don't know if it's PC to say that or not, but we say it because we have over 6 million games on the platform. So the beauty of Roblox is that it's free to play. There are plus-ups that you can get within the game, but anybody can play for free. Your neighbor can create a game, or we have very successful development studios doing this with some of the largest IP in the world. And so it's a really, really fun place where we're finding that creators can now thrive.
And so there are tools on Roblox that enable people to create their own games.
Yes. So the interesting thing about Roblox is that all different than YouTube where you upload things, all of the tools to create the games are within our platform. So the platform actually provides all of the tools for game creation. You don't need to bring anything. You don't need an extra software platform. You literally can utilize the platform. And we continue to advance our technology around gameplay, every day.
So how did you get to Roblox, and what was your journey into Roblox yourself?
So I started my career in television, as my children like to say it, in the 1900s, in the late 90s, at Disney, I'm sure everyone knows Disney's ABC network. And so I spent 19 years there. And I essentially helped them develop all of their websites, mobile applications, and streaming strategies for their local division across the United States. So I remember going out and talking to people saying, you're going to watch TV on your phone, and people saying, nobody will ever watch television on their phone. What are you, crazy? And so I did that. And then I got an itch when social media really was taking off, because I love doing kind of what's new and what's next. So I went to what was then Facebook, Meta, and I managed one of their vertical partnerships teams there, and then helped with their video strategy. And then I left Meta, and then looking at Meta after Meta, I wanted to find the next frontier. And I had kids that were very, very active in Roblox, especially in the pandemic, and saw the magic of it and said, I think that there's something here. So I love what is up and coming. I love building what's next. And I think that's been my career journey and my career theme is like, no one thought that streaming or mobile apps was going to be something, and then no one knew what social was going to be. And I think gaming is going to be just as big as those previous 2 categories.
You mentioned back at that time, they were very, very active on Roblox already. We're talking about quite young children, correct?
So at that time, they were in a good pandemic age. This is when they really, like many, found Roblox. And Roblox did take off with the pandemic, but unlike other companies, it never came back down. So they were 8 and 9 at the time when they found Roblox. And I saw how powerful. It wasn't just gaming. They were developing communities amongst kids that they weren't able to be connected with otherwise. And that's when I really saw that this was a little bit different. Gaming is a huge genre, and there's a lot of great parts of gaming, but specifically for Roblox, it kind of is community building in a different way. And that was really magical to me.
So your role now focuses on more global partnerships, and that means trying to bring brands and different IPs into the ecosystem. And I guess, to your point, you've been at the frontier of some of those shifts before. So I'm intrigued, how are some of the, biggest global brands or IPs showing up on Roblox? Like, what's their pathway to getting involved on the platform? Obviously, some are really far down the line, some are still just getting started. What's the different touch points, let's say, that people can get involved through?
Yeah, so I think that we've been evolving that path for brands and IP over the last few years. So yes, I manage 6 different verticals for Roblox: sports, music, financial services, auto, travel, and restaurants. And so I see a variety of different kind of brands coming to the platform. So what I would say now, because I think we continue to shift as a platform and grow with our enormous growth. Number one, I'd say maybe there's 3 or 4 paths. Number one, start developing your community. Look at search your brand in our search bar on Roblox. Your brand may come up, right? It likely will come up. See how our community is engaging with it. So start looking at what the community is doing. We also are going to be launching over the next few months a series of new opportunities for brands and IP to come to our platform to develop community in ways that are no cost. We want to start having places for brands to enter easier, and you'll see a lot of announcements from us coming soon. But the second piece I would say is that's community building is number one. Number 2 is avatar items. If you've come to Roblox, the avatar is central to how you show up. Everyone has an avatar, and how you express yourself is a very big part of our community. So developing avatar items, and we've seen very traditional sports brands or entertainment brands. Sports brand, of course, get your jersey from your sports team. But we've also seen a lot of non-traditional brands come in and bring theirs. The third way I would say is really ads. So in the last year, we have expanded our ad portfolio considerably. So if you're a brand and you just want to get in front of our enormous audience, we're 97 daily active users, which we think is incredible, and it continues to grow about 30% quarter over quarter, year over year, every quarter. Just put your ad on the platform. That's a very, very lightweight way to come. We launched rewarded video that is doing very, very well. We're seeing incredible results, and the best part of our rewarded video product is that the users like it. The user sentiment is good because all of our rewards are actual gameplay plus-ups. So the brand is getting a lot of goodwill because the community is like, this brand has given me something of value.
So you mentioned, you said it's 97 million a day?
Daily active users.
Daily active users. So what is the advertising product that you sell? What is the advertising? How does that work on your platform?
Yeah, so video is number one. So we have a standard video product that is essentially billboards in the games that you walk by, all the user choice. You don't have to. You're not bombarded. So we have a standard billboard you can walk through, a standard video billboard. Then a rewarded video, which is a plus up in a game. If you watch a 15-second commercial, you get something of significant value. And then we also have traffic drivers on the platform. So if you have a game, you can do a portal or a tile ad or a homepage unit to drive to your game. So those are the ad.
So in your own experience, you're dealing at the other end with people who are buying advertising, correct?
Mm-hmm.
They've got their games up to speed now, so that they're aware of how to use these channels within Roblox. Do they have Roblox buyers, or is it?
Oh no,
no, that's what I figured.
We're not there yet. I think no Roblox buyers yet. I think we're working on getting gaming buyers. Okay. That's what I think. Yeah. So right now we usually are working with innovation teams or video teams, but I think the big work to be done by the entire gaming community, and we're getting much closer now, is how do we assert gaming as a channel for marketers? And I think that some of the numbers that we're starting to see, like those daily active users, are really leaning towards why.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good segue, because to your point, a lot of innovation teams or marketing teams to some degree are the ones that are focusing on this. But there is the whole other side of the media conversation where a lot of these brands or agencies, for them it's understanding the audience, but then also how they can show up. And to your point, Jay, kind of how do you bring in the same kind of analytics and reporting to some degree that means that they can shift those bigger budgets into gaming? And then I guess the other side is, how do you make that part of the wider marketing and media kind of strategy so that it's, gaming's not just tucked away at the side?
Yes.
And you've got the data.
Yes. Yes, we're bringing more and more data. I mean, I think the most compelling stat that I've seen recently for our industry is that 87% of Gen Z says games every month. So if you are trying to reach Gen Z as a brand, full stop, if you're ignoring gaming, then you're ignoring a huge section of where people spend time. Additionally, on Roblox, those huge numbers, they're spending 2.5 hours a day on our platform. So they are not doing other things that they've done in the past, in terms of their media consumption. It's enormous, where you really can't ignore this anymore. But the key job, and I think the transformation that we've done over the last year or two, is we need to make it easy and digestible to do it. Like, the big question is, like, what do I do on Roblox? So I mentioned the ads, the avatar items, and then we have our whole content play with making your own game or doing integrations. And so our job is to make this easier, and we continue to do that. Now, Roblox has a program where you can come directly to us, and we can help you with integrations. We have a partner program that we've launched, where we have certain devs that we have deemed in our program that we can endorse in the marketplace. So we've done some things to make it easier and simple, because if you're not a gamer or you're not familiar with Roblox, it's your head just kind of spins a little bit, I think.
Because there are so many ways for brands to enter now, and I guess they're all at varying levels of understanding of games as a whole, and UGC and Roblox. How do you kind of guide them through that process of finding out, is it right that they start with advertising? Is it right that they go and speak to one of the dev teams to build their own experience? Is it an integration? Like, is there any set criteria for a brand to say, well, we think this is probably the right way to show up at first?
I wouldn't say that there's set criteria. I think we tend to gauge their appetite for testing. Mm-hmm. So generally what we would say to any brand now is trying to run a video is very low lift and very low risk. And we do have measurement with companies like Kantar and Cint, and we're working towards Nielsen, the measurement of the industry. So that is all coming. Then I would also say I don't love this phrase, but I think it's applicable for Roblox, which is crawl, walk, run, which is like, okay, try the ad maybe, then move into an integration. Yeah. Into a popular game to get some learnings, figure out how is the community responding. Integrations can be done within 4 to 6 weeks of a timeline to get them up and running. And they can be very, very simple. And then if you really feel like your IP is very strong and you want to make a significant investment, then you would go down the experience route. Where previous years we were focused more on building the experiences. Now we're not advocating for that unless you are really invested, because with our community expects updates. You can't just throw a game out there and then leave it there. So that's why integrations has been something we've leaned more heavily into. And that's what I would say, if a brand wants to get involved in content, start there.
And that's exactly when we had Mitch Rasmussen from NASCAR. That was their approach to kind of looking at, dip the toe, then go to an integration, then kind of experience as well. So I think it's a model that a lot of brands or IP are looking at and finding success in. Some of the numbers he talked around were crazy. Yeah.
I mean, one great example of an integration is with a US-based company, H&R Block. They do taxes. And if you can do taxes if you can make taxes exciting to our community, then that's a pretty big feat.
What do they do? I mean, that's a good one. I'd like to hear.
Yeah. So role-playing games are a very popular format on our platform, and people replicate real life. And so they integrated into 2 games, and we had millions of tax returns being filed on Roblox as part of one of our most popular games. And so we loved it, and they loved it because it's introducing the brand in a fun but authentic way to a community that needs to learn. Everyone needs to do their taxes in the United States, and so you need to learn about this. They saw double-digit increases in brand intent through utilizing the strategy of video plus the integrations. And so that's one that we often like to use because it's unexpected on how they came.
But again, Lisa, how is it that H&R Block found Roblox?
So I will give credit. Andy from H&R Block is an amazing visionary and had an interest in gaming. But we outreach to brands every day now because we think if you need a Gen Z strategy, you need to be considering Roblox at this point. We do a great stat when you think about why gaming, that about half of our audience is not on TikTok on a monthly basis. And so if you're not using Gen Z is a fragmented generation, but now if you have a Gen Z strategy, most brands are thinking about what can we do in gaming. I think it's just a matter of getting them over the hump and finding the right way to do it.
What do you think is, because the stats, there's reporting, what do you think is holding brands back from embracing perhaps gaming as a whole, or perhaps, getting involved on a Roblox perspective? Like what's missing, or what are still the challenges that need to be solved?
Number one, we talk about it all the time, is just education. Most of the people that are making the decisions did not grow up on Roblox. And maybe their lens is like, my nephew plays, my kid plays, and that's their lens on it. 62% of our audience is now over the age of 13. It is not the platform that everybody. Yes, we have an amazing young population, and we love that, and we hopefully, but they're also starting to age up with us. So I think education is number one. So we do a lot of myth busting in the market of like, what is Roblox and how it comes. And then, I think education, and then making it simple. We need to have, which is what we've been working on, is like, if a brand wants to come, if it's too complicated, they'll move to the next opportunity. So making it simple.
I think that's the whole thing. As much as people, it is a young audience, or a primarily young audience, people's passions don't change just because they grow up. If anything, they just stay with them and they interact with it in different ways. And, life gets in the way sometimes, and it's finding that kind of, time to prioritize towards it. But, if you follow a sports team, or you interact with, your favorite movie or music artist or whatever, like that sticks with you. So I think it's figuring out how does the platform cater to those needs. And there's been tons of different updates from kind of an IP perspective that you guys are launching. You've got the rewarded ads that are coming out. Like what's the roadmap look like from a Roblox perspective? And I guess, how you're servicing the user base, but then also how you're servicing brands. What's kind of the priority, I guess, for your team in the next 6-12 months?
Well, how our priority is to scale out some of these simple products like rewarded video or some of the community building products, and also enhance our content strategy. So how do you make integrations easier to buy? So I think that those will be the big things that you see come out of us. And then just really encourage, and we also, as our team has grown at Roblox, we've had some significant growth, more data, more case studies. So we're working very deeply with our new data scientist on how do we deliver insight. So if you're a brand and you come test, H&R Block comes and tests out on the platform, we want to have that next level of data and insights. So I would say really focusing also on what the data is telling us and what the impact might be.
You mentioned case studies, and that's maybe we're on a sports, entertainment, and gaming podcast. So maybe we can dive into some of the most successful case studies that you've seen across the platform. We talked about NASCAR already. NFL have been doing some incredible stuff. There's been a ton of movie, NHL as well. There's been some movie marketing going on across the platform too. Is there anything that you kind of use as this is a great test case, or something that you should look at as kind of a way to do things on the platform?
Yeah, I have a couple examples. I mean, you mentioned the NFL. I certainly think what we did with the NFL has been quite effective. Their team, and they're a great example of a brand that the strategy that they're doing today is not the strategy they started out with. They tested. And kudos to that team for kind of testing and learning through it. So what has worked so well for them is working with our community. They embraced a game that was already very popular on the platform and kind of rebranded it. It was Ultimate Football. Now it's NFL Universe Football. So they did like I would say it's an integration, probably downplays what they did with Foldex, who is an excellent developer as well. But they did a huge multi-year integration where they went to where the community was already interested and embraced the community. So I think the NFL has been probably one of our most successful ones. Because I think what IP from entertainment and sports needs to think about is, number one, is get the eyeballs there. And once you get the eyeballs there, then you can grow it and develop it and even monetize it, which has been successful there. On the entertainment side, I think, Beetlejuice was a great example this year. And what was really fun about Beetlejuice was, 25 million visits to the experience. But we also sold movie tickets for the first time directly in the experience. So I think that is an example. I mean, we didn't break box office records from ticket sales on Roblox, but I think it's starting to showcase the next layer of where we can go with some of these IPs. So those are just two off the top of my head.
Because maybe we can talk around kind of the blending of physical and digital kind of experiences, because I guess the ways that, audiences are interacting from a digital perspective and on platform, that can influence what they're doing out of platform.
Yes.
And I guess that's a super interesting thing, especially for a sports IP or an entertainment where, they're physical products to some degree, or at least, you want to drive people to the movies or you want to drive people to the stadium. So I'm intrigued, like how are you seeing a lot of those sports or entertainment IP kind of capture that and kind of, drive their audiences from platform off of it? And vice versa, maybe.
Yeah. So I know that this is not a sports and entertainment example, but I quickly want to touch on this one because I think it's inspirational to that. So Fenty Beauty, who is Rihanna's beauty line, recently did something where they did a contest of sorts to choose a lip color on Roblox, and then they actually produced it and sold it in stores
really cool.
And on platform. And so that's an example of our engaged community who has a voice for Gen Z creating something on our platform and then selling out in stores. So I think that's something that, even though it's not a sports and entertainment one, it's really good example. But I think back to the sports and entertainment, I think you'll see, now that we've launched our Shopify integrations, so anything that is sold on Shopify can be sold on Roblox. So any brand that sells anything on Shopify, which many sports brands do, that is something there. I also think it's interesting that when we did a sports survey earlier this year, and people that were exposed to the few of the sports brands that we listed on the platform, we showed an 11% increase in the likelihood of them to watch a live game.
Wow.
Which is enormous, because I think any sports IP would be thrilled with an 11% increase in their live viewing. The average age of a sports fan on Roblox is 18. The average age of a sports fan on traditional media, we all know, is far higher. So I think we've dabbled. We're starting to dabble in tickets. We're starting to dabble in that real world product. I think you'll see more coming out of that. And then also just driving to their live product is something we're focused on.
Really cool. And I guess there's been numerous different brands that have been involved, or IP that have been involved in the platform, but there's probably a ton more out there that, are intrigued and looking at how they could potentially use or utilize the platform or leverage the platform. What would your kind of advice be for a brand or an IP that's looking to get involved in the platform? Obviously, we've talked a little bit around the ways that they can show up. But what would be your kind of suggested route? I guess, how do they do that in a way that is, everyone hates the word authentic, but authentic, and actually, introduces their brand and kind of the story around their brand in the right way, that kind of appeals to a younger audience too?
Yes, I think the first thing that we always ask, and I had a meeting last week with one of the world's largest sports IP, and I said, because we're such a large platform now with over 6 million experiences and such a variety of a global audience, the first thing I would say is narrow down what you want to accomplish. Yeah. Do you want to reach an international audience? Do you want to reach females? Like, what is it a specific event that you like? Are you trying to a sporting event or a movie release? Like, be specific, because we are so big now. Give us some guardrails. Do you want to reach Latin America? Do you want to reach APAC? Like, what do you want to do? So give us a brief is essentially the first thing that we say. And then we can go through our 6 million experiences and say, these are the ones that we think would be most effective for what you're trying to do. These are the ones that we think could be authentic. And then these are the ones that reach your target audience, because certain experiences pop in certain geos and amongst certain demographics.
I mean, if you've had 6 million different experiences, how does discovery work on the platform? So you have someone come to say, we want to reach that target. How does that target, how do they make that connection between that target and what it is that they want to put out there on your platform?
So first, we do have and continue to make massive improvements in our suggested. So once you start playing, similar to any other platform, you get your suggested. We also that's why we also have the traffic driving products in our portals, tiles, and homepages, is because on a platform like YouTube, you just don't put up a video and hope. You do hope, many people do hope people find it, and there's been many successes like that. But we also say if a brand comes, we highly suggest that you utilize some of those products.
So it's a similar kind of recommendation.
And we do recommendations, but then also we would hate for a brand to come any longer with the size and scope and not have any sort of media push.
So I guess Roblox has exploded over the last few years, and it's moved from, there is a UGC element, of course there's a UGC element to it, but from singular teams perhaps developing games to now big groups coming in. We've already mentioned Voldex and the likes. How is the kind of professionalization of the platform brought around new opportunities for you as a platform, but then also the wider ecosystem and users?
Well, the growth of the platform means also hopefully growth for our creator community. What I think is really exciting this year is that we are on track to deliver $1 billion back to the creator community on Roblox for the first time. And our top 100 devs all of them are making over $1 million, some of them well over $1 million. And so what that says to me is that Roblox is a place for creators to come and grow and thrive. And we have a community that can help them build out massive businesses. So I think if you asked David, our CEO, he'd probably say this is a huge point of pride for him, because we want a community that continues to bring creativity to Roblox. And by having the economics now kind of behind it, we're able to do that. So I think hopefully we'll see more and more creators and studios pop up on the platform.
And I guess for IP or brands, that's also, long term, there's the opportunity for them to start monetizing their audience as well. And
absolutely.
We've already talked about some of the things that you're bringing into place, but that changes the business model to some degree, or the way that they're interacting with games. So it's not a cost center to some degree, but it's actually a way for them to. And
I think that's the big shift that we're starting to see, is that with the right strategy and the right investment, and when I say investment, it could basically have time. I do believe that sports and entertainment IP can switch. I handle sports more deeply, can become not a cost center any longer. We can drive significant fandom and hopefully be a revenue driver in the future.
What about the idea of using Roblox as a way to boost interest and boost fandom for some of the challenger sports and some of the emerging sports? Because one of the big challenges, one of the big difficulties for sports that are not in the top tier is they don't have that outreach, and they feel that there's a cost barrier or there's a barrier for them to actually get themselves up to some sort of scale. I would see Roblox as potentially a good channel for them.
Absolutely. One of the most popular sports games on the platform of the moment is a volleyball game. So I'm assuming volleyball would be in your challenger category. It's a volleyball anime game, and it's exploding. And so that's an example of brands who start to watch on the platform, what the trends on the platform are. Jump on that volleyball game, speak to those devs, see if we can do an integration. And then if it's not with that game, volleyball's obviously trending on the platform. So yeah, we're an easy, lightweight way to kind of drive interest to challenger sports. Absolutely. Create jerseys, create UGC items, like the creative out, and UGC items are very, very cost efficient to make, and we have a ton of creators that we work with all the time on that.
So last question, I mean, that's related to that. So cost-wise, would it be? I mean, how easy would it be for a sport to create something on Roblox that would generate that possibly could get some kind of audience? I mean, what kind of investment, number-wise, not necessarily in dollars, but how long would it take? How many people would it take? I mean, what is the kind of?
I mean, we could do something meaningful in a month or less. I would say really likely because of approvals, it's closer to 8 weeks. But 8 weeks in a really good brief, and Roblox can kind of get you on your way very, very easily.
So how do you take things to the next level beyond getting a brief and saying that you're going to create something that's really impactful for them? What would be the next level of being able to do that?
So one thing that we're very excited about this year is that we've launched the Roblox Innovation Studio. And so basically think of that as a creativity arm for brands and IP on the platform. One of the first things that they did was that they launched something called immersive trailers. And we will see one that just launched with Wicked last week on the platform, where you're not just watching a trailer, you're in the trailer. So that's the Innovation Studio's charter, essentially, is to go that level deeper, give us the brief, and then let's work on what is the actual creativity that can be brought more deeply. And that immersive trailer was one of the first things that they put out from the studio.
Amazing. Well, listen, Lisa, thank you so much for taking time to be with us today. Jay, thanks for sitting alongside me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks everyone for listening along. We'll be back again soon.